Hello everybody, I'm LED Wallace, and today I will be talking about survival shelters. So today I'm going to be talking mainly about the four principles, the four aspects of a survival shelter. And I'm going to be using this shelter, a very commonly used shelter around that is very well and that can keep it does pretty much everything that you need. So I'll be explaining every aspect of your survival shelter and how you want it by using this shelter as um, an example for us. The four aspects of a survival shelter is waterproofing, windproofing, fire, and insulation. Waterproofing is an essential, as when you get wet, you can get hypothermia. And we all know that hypothermia is probably one of the worst things that can happen when you're in the wild. It's really bad, and you can't get over it pretty easily, unless you have a really good fire. Um, a pretty simple way of waterproofing your shelter, like behind me, is placing a lot of leaves, bark, or branches in a descending pattern. Come with me. So as you can see on this shelter, we use a lot of branches that can bring the water down, and that's going to keep it from going to you. While it's in that angle, I mean that the water all goes down here and not in your fire or on top of you. So this is a good shelter. The second essential aspect is fire. Fire helps your body temperature go up, or when you have hypothermia, not have hypothermia. Um, when the night goes, when night comes, most of the time it goes really cold. Even if it's like 12 in the afternoon, it can hit like the minuses depending where you are. Or even if you're in a desert, it could go to 30 to almost 0. So fire is very, very, very useful. Um, and a simple shelter like this without a fire will still be really cold. This is going to keep you hot. It's going to keep a lot of things that remove your heat, but it won't create heat for you. That's the part of fire that we all need. That's why it's so important with your survival shelter. The third essential is insulation. Insulation is very important because it helps keep a steady heat in your shelter. Plus, if you have fire, it's going to keep in the heat from the fire onto you, which is one of probably the best things you could want with fire and insulation. Um, you can insulate your house with leaves, branches, dirt, snow, rotten logs, sticks, and a lot of things, as long as it's going to keep it and it's going to be closed off in a thick ass layer. So here, this house is mostly insulated with a lot of logs. These logs, as you can see, are pretty disgusting. So this makes it that you're able to stuck them up everywhere. They also use moss and leaves to cover all the holes up. So this makes a pretty well insulated house. Plus, if we go in the back here, you can see that the big branches come up to the ground, making isolation go from the bottom to the top of the roof, which is pretty good. The fourth and last essential is windproofing. Wind is a key element to making you cold. As you see, on your body normally there's this like thin layer of air that keeps your heat in, while the wind comes in and removes it all. This makes you cold. You're normally by isolating or waterproofing, this will also prevent wind from entering your shelter. So here, as you can see, all the logs and everything that was used for waterproofing and insulation is most of the time going to keep the wind from coming in. Plus, we can create these small walls on the side. They don't need to be too big, but they're always just enough to keep the wind from removing your heat when you're on the bench. So this is a pretty cool thing to have when you're creating a survival shelter, but it is not mandatory. You should probably keep all this wood mostly for the back, insulation and waterproofing of the main building, but if you have extras, it's always good to have this. When building your survival shelter, it is good to keep in mind where to build your survival shelter. You see here, we're on the high grounds. This is pretty good because the high grounds are normally going to be way drier than if we look over there. That's the low ground. That's where all the water goes, and normally that's very wet, and that's not good. Fires don't go as well, and you're going to be cooler because all the cold air is all going to go down there at night. So it's better to be high than down. Let's be careful. Let's not go too high, because too high means less trees. Here, there's a lot of trees around us. These trees cut a lot of wind from us, and so helping us with our windproofing. It also keeps rain from going down on us too hard. So, in conclusion, we talk about the four aspects of your survival shelter: the fire, insulation, waterproofing, and windproofing. Always keep in mind that these are the four things that you have to have when building your survival shelter. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you another time.